Yo, Fidzy here, aka Hegassen. Thank you for clicking on my One Piece manga chapter 987 review. Lots to cover in this chapter, lots to talk about. We had the continuation of the 9 Red Scabbards versus Kaido, and some blood was spilt. We'll talk about all of that in a little bit, but first of all, I want to talk about the colour page spread, and I just want to do a very quick shout out to welcome my friend, my good friend, Chaos Rogue Designs. He has joined YouTube. If you like cosplay as much as I do, then go and check out his channel, please. He's only got one video up so far, but it's already a really insightful video about prop making and how to make weapons and stuff. Just go check him out and check out his Instagram. He's really good, and I welcome him to YouTube. I cannot wait to see him grow and see what kind of progress he makes and all the future props. One day, hopefully, I'll get him to make a One Piece prop as well. So go over there, subscribe, and keep asking for One Piece props. Let's get him making One Piece props. So let's talk about this colour page image. It was a beautiful colour page image. I really liked it because it showed all of the straw hats on Bulldogs. And when I say all of the straw hats, I mean all of the straw hats, because finally, for the first time, we have Jinbe. Jinbe is there, and he's looking good. He's almost there at the front. We've got Luffy, then we've got Jinbe behind, and it's so good to see Jinbe here, confirming once again that he is now a proud member of the Straw Hat crew. And this also kind of confirms something else, this colour page image. Is it confirming Robin and Frankie? Finally, the ship that has been slowly building. I know Oda said that he was never going to do romance in One Piece, but he has been hinting this even as recently as some of the chapters in Wano. Robin wanted to get on the back of Frankie's motorcycle, but Brook got in there first and bone blocked him. Poor Frankie, but here, you know, Robin showing a little bit of affection for Frankie. She has her hand on his cheek. It could just be friendly, but the mum and dad are the crew. Come on. I support them. I really want this ship. And it looks like, I think Oda is kind of hinting towards this ship as well. Yeah, we've got Nami riding on Jinbe's shoulder as well. She's looking a little bit like blushing, but Chopper's up there as well. And it looks more like Nami is like, shh, hey, Chopper, I've got like a secret to tell you. Look behind. Look at Robin and Frankie. Shh, don't tell anyone. Like, it's really good to see, because Frankie, Robin, they're the mum and dad. They're a cute little couple. I fully support them two by the end of the series. I don't think Oda's ever going to be like, until like right near the end, confirmed that yes, okay, they were sharing a room together down in the engines. But I fully expect to see a lot more little hints like this going forwards. There are a lot of other kind of potential little hints and references in this colour page spread, mainly on the shirts that they're wearing. They're all wearing kind of like bright colourful shirts, you know, Sanji's. It looks like there's a 3 on his shirt, which is an obvious connection to Germa. Jinbe's got like fighting polar bears, which may be Beppo. Maybe it's going to hint that something's going on with Beppo. The one that was like the one that stood out for me the most, and the one that was like, wait, are these some references in these shirts, is Luffy's one. Luffy has some blue pineapples on his shirt. I know some people were talking about it maybe being devil fruit references, but for me it was like pineapple, blue, Marco, right? Because Marco is a pineapple, and when he goes in Phoenix form, he's like blue fire. That's what I saw, and you know, he's in the chapters recently, including this one. Some good stuff with Marco coming up as well later on. And then Zoro's got like kind of leaves on him, which like palm leaves, which might be a callback to Alabasta, you know, where Zoro demonstrated what we now call the Ryou haki, and was potentially Zoro showing off this haki long before it was a thing, you know, probably not even aware that he was actually using haki. So maybe that's a reference to that. We do get some Ryou stuff as well in this chapter, which again, I'll talk about in a little bit. But the weirdest one out of all of these is the fact that Luffy, it's not even a shirt one, it's just a random reference that is going on here, is Luffy is holding Sabo's like pipe, which is a bit weird, a bit out of place. Is it because we've had like Sabo in the story with the Reverie stuff? Maybe it's hinting that we're going to be going back to the Reverie at some point. You could probably read into all of this stuff so much, but a lot of this I think is quite intentional. Sanji as well holding a gun. There's got to be some kind of significance for that as well. But the main thing I'm taking out of this is Robin, Frankie, ship confirmed. So now let's get into the actual chapter itself. This chapter is also like a lot of little hints as well. You know, there's no like kind of big massive reveals, but there's like a lot of little hints, a lot of things that characters say, could be references to stuff going forwards. And overall it was a pretty good chapter, apart from the beginning. Like the first page is just flashbacks None of that was really needed. No, this wasn't even flashbacks from a long time ago. It was flashbacks from the Odin flashback. It makes sense for the story and stuff, but it took up a whole page. It just kind of wasted the first page. And then you turn the page and the epicness from the last chapter continues with the 9 Red Scabbards, their swords on Kaido, falling off that balcony, and as I said, blood was spilled. And we get confirmation here that Kinemon has drawn Kaido's blood. Yes, Kinemon has actually stabbed a Yonko and is making Kaido bleed. And as Kaido is falling, he's thinking about his time with Odin, which is why we got that flashback, and when Odin gave him the scar on his chest, and Kaido questions as to whether or not the 9 Red Scabbards are using Ryou. I said that Ryou was going to actually be mentioned in this chapter, and this is where it was mentioned, whether or not the 9 Red Scabbards are using Ryou just like Odin did. So this does kind of confirm that Odin was using the Ryou haki and that he used that to cut Kaido, and potentially hints at the fact that you need this haki to cut Kaido. And this is something that I've been saying before. I mean, otherwise, why would Luffy be learning that? And I speculate that maybe Luffy was learning that so that he can actually do damage to Kaido, you know, just with his bare hands, not with a sword or anything, and that haki is the key to taking on Kaido. And one of the reasons for this is because obviously Kaido turns into a dragon, and he has these powerful, tough scales, and that there's a lot of stuff in myth about dragons having this thing called a reverse scale, and if you break that, you kind of break a big chunk of their power. And I was speculating that maybe that is going to be like a weakness, and that you need this new haki to break that. So that theory kind of still kind of stands a little bit, and we see it here. And what we kind of see is potentially maybe Kinemon knows this, and all of the 9 Red Scabbards also know the Ryou haki, which is pretty mind-blowing. It makes sense because they're all from Wano, and it is a technique that is predominantly used by sword users, and they are all predominantly sword users, so it makes sense here. And we see that Kinemon is going in, and he's struggling a little bit, but eventually he gets it in, and blood is drawn. So does Kinemon know this? And if so, why has he been keeping it secret? And why has he been keeping his power secret so much, you know? This is Kinemon, right? A character that, for a lot of it, has been played as a little bit of a joke, and hasn't really been seen to be that strong. But here he is taking on a Yonko, making a Yonko bleed. It makes sense that he is strong because he was like second in command from Odin. He was the one who was kind of leading the 9 Red Scabbards in Odin's absence. It would make sense that Kinemon is actually secretly super strong. I mean, him and Kaido and the other 9 Red Scabbards, they all took on Kaido's army all by themselves, with also just Shinobu. So it makes sense, but it's finally good to actually see it here. But why was he sleeping on this power so much? Why didn't he mention it or bring it up in the past? Maybe he was actually kind of keeping it secret as a little bit of a trump card. Or maybe because, you know, he hasn't left Wano and stuff. It was all still unfamiliar to him. You know, he didn't know much about devil fruits. He didn't know much about bikinis. So he was a novice for a lot of things. So maybe he just didn't think of it as anything other than the norm. Because for him, it was a norm because he was a swordsman from Wano. So that's some really good stuff with Kinemon. It's great to actually see Kinemon in the fight, being strong, having some epic moments. He had a great conversation with Kaido that I'm going to talk about in a little bit as well. So yeah, big Kinemon fan, so I'm biased for this. I absolutely love it. I generally, massive smiles. If you saw my reaction, I was massive smiles when I was reading this bit. Although, if you think the Kinemon one was impressive, Okiko Nojo comes along and absolutely steals the show and just stabs through Kaido's hand. Cleanly through Kaido's hand. Kinemon, he was struggling a little bit to get it into Kaido's chest. Okiko, so impressive, straight through Kaido's hand. Looked like hardly any struggle at all. Really impressive by Okiko. She has shown just how strong she is. I mean, maybe for Kinemon you could argue that he was going for the chest. Maybe it's a little bit tougher, a little bit harder to penetrate, but still really good. There was some weird stuff in there though. We previously seen Nekomamushi had knocked Kaido's weapon clean out of his hand, and as they're falling we see the weapon off to the side. But when they land, Kaido's using it as like a prop to help him stand up. Like, why'd you let him pick that up? How did it get back in his hands? Nekomamushi had his hand. Like, he should have knocked that club out of his hand, and grabbed it and just thrown it across Onigashima. Don't let Kaido pick it up again. Now he's got his weapon again. That was a little bit weird. Another one, it was epic, but Ryou, he goes from one sword to two swords, which is weird to see Ryou with a sword. And he has him on Kaido's neck. That was awesome. But come on, man, do the finishing move. You got him on Kaido's neck. What happened? Did you hit the floor before you could do it? You had him in the moment. It's not like we saw him there kind of cutting, trying to get through his neck. You could have done it, Ryou, and you messed it up. Another little weird thing, and I think this is going to be quite a long review, so I do apologise for that, but lots of stuff to talk about. Another little weird thing was Kaido, he obviously wanted to fight the 9 Red Scabbards. You could see it on his face, and some stuff with Luffy as well later on. Luffy kind of declared the challenge to Kaido, and Kaido accepted it, and you can see he had a big smile in his dragon face. But Kaido, he wants to fight them, but he wants to fight them out in the open in his dragon form. Yeah, he transforms into his dragon, as a lot of us were suspecting. A little bit unfortunate that he didn't go into his hybrid form. I guess you really got to push him to get him into his hybrid form. Something could be, it's really loud noise outside, I apologise. Something could be coming up at the end of this chapter with the Minks that maybe could push Kaido into his hybrid form. Again, we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. But Kaido, he flies up to the roof of Onigashima because he wants to fight out at the open. He can't fight inside in his dragon form because he's massive, and 2 will make a massive, huge mess. So he goes up to the top, and all of the 9 Red Scabbards, they grab hold of him, and he flies up. But it's a little bit weird when you think about it. Like, what was if they didn't grab on? Kaido would just go up there, and then he'd be up there on his own. It'd be like, oi! Well, you were meant to grab on, what you doing? And Kinemon's just like, oh, sorry, I didn't realise, you just flew off. We'll be right up. Is there some stairs? Yeah, down the corridor, take a right. Okay, we're on our way. All right, away. And like an hour later, they're at the top of the stairs like, oh, okay, we're here. Just give us 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Like, it's weird. Like, what happened? Was Kaido like, all right, let's fight. Hop on, everyone, get on, grab hold, we're on our way up. Okay, here we go, don't fall off. Like, what happened there? Just a little bit weird when you actually think about how that scene actually happened, because it just happened off screen. Kaido flies off, and then they're all just holding on to him. But before they go up to the roof of Onigashima, Kaido and Kinemon, they have a very interesting conversation that I'll get into in a little bit. First of all, I just want to say that it is absolutely boiling in this room. There is a heat wave currently in the UK, and in order to record these, I have to shut my windows, I have to shut my door. I've got a big light on here. My computer's there, and it is overheating. I apologise if you can hear it screaming in the background. I am sweating, so I don't know how this is going. I've had to do quite a few takes, so I hope it all comes together and it's good for you guys to watch, and you're enjoying my thoughts, and what I'm trying to say is coming out properly, because I am also overheating. I am massively overheating. So if you could, I don't normally like to plug all of this stuff too much, but if you could just do what all of the other YouTubers say and smash that like button, because I want to know if dehydrating was worth it. And I also love to know what you think about this chapter as well, and what are your theories from this chapter. What do you think about Kaido and, you know, that stuff that's going to go on that roof in the next few chapters? Let me know down in the comments. Anyway, let's talk about Kaido and Kinemon's little chat, because they're having a little chat, and Kaido just randomly kind of brings up about how Kinemon is allying himself with pirates. He finds that very interesting, and we've known throughout kind of the little stuff we've seen of Kaido that he kind of has trust issues. He's all about power for himself. We can see that in the Beast Pirates. It's all like survival of the fittest. It's you're on your own, and if you can't survive, you're out, you lose. And Kaido's had that. He had that kind of stuff with Oden as well, and there was hints there that at the end of this, it's going to be Kaido fighting on his own. Other people have betrayed him or whatnot. He's going to be on his own, and then you're going to have Luffy and, you know, like Law, Eustace Kid, the Straw Hat, the Samurai, the Minks, everybody else behind Luffy, you know, supporting Luffy. And that is what the big difference between the two is going to be. That is what I've been saying. And there's more hints of that here, because Kaido says, and I'll read it directly from the page. He says, but pirates, he's saying this to Kinemon, but pirates will betray you. When they know you'll lose, they will abandon you and sail away. And that is very, very specific, Kaido, what you're saying, especially the sail away part. They'll abandon you and sail away. Why don't you just say pirates will betray you? He goes into this stuff. It seems like Kaido's got some stuff he wants to get off of his chest, you know. He's clearly got some inner turmoil going on. He's clearly been betrayed in the past. Who's he been betrayed by? The most logical explanation has got to be Xebec D-Rocks, because he was the apprentice of that crew. They lost to Roger and Garp. What happened? Did Xebec abandon everybody when the battle wasn't going their way, when he saw that Roger and that were winning? Was Kaido, back in the past, a lot more trusting. Was he really happy to be part of Rock's crew? We don't really know what he was like back then. Did he really look up to Rock's, and then Rock's just abandoned? You know, maybe Kaido had been defeated by like Roger or captured by Roger, and then Xebec just turned his back, didn't help him, and walked off. Definitely some interesting stuff there. And then Kinemon kind of says back and confirms once again that Luffy, he's going to be the Pirate King, and Kinemon will die for Luffy. Basically, he says that. Kinemon says that he will die for Luffy. And there we see the big difference of Kaido is all about betrayal. Luffy is all about an alliance and helping people. And that's going to be the big difference. But definitely some interesting stuff about Kaido's backstory. Some stuff that I'm generally really excited to get into. So we've talked about Kaido's backstory. We've talked about Kinemon's power. We've talked about ryuo haki and how it might be actually more common in Wano. And all of the 9 Red Scabbards might know it. But we still aren't done. There's still a lot of other stuff to cover. I'll breeze through a few of these a little bit quicker. We have Yamato versus Ulti. It looks like we're going to get that fight. I wasn't actually expecting that. So that's going to be really good. Actually get them two clashing again. Big Mom and Luffy. Because Big Mom and Luffy, they run into each other again in this. And they're having a little conversation. And Big Mom is like, Straw Hat, I came here to get you. Why are you here? Don't tell me it's just to take on Kaido. And Luffy does his big declaration of war. He says, I'm not just here to get Kaido. I'm here to get you and Kaido and Orochi. I'm here to beat up everyone. I am here to start a war. So Luffy does his big declaration. Kaido hears it, and that's when he goes flying up. And that's when he accepts Luffy's challenge. So it looks like we're now getting Big Mom versus Luffy, which is very unexpected. I still really want Sanji and the whole Cake crew to be fighting Big Mom, but it doesn't look like we're going to be getting Luffy versus Kaido anytime soon, because then Kaido's now up on the ceiling with the 9 Red Scabbards and with the Minks, which again, I'm getting to it, I'm going to get to it soon. And during all of this, Nami and Carrot, they're able to escape from Big Mom's grasp. So again, like where on earth was Sanji during all of this? Like, why didn't he come and help Nami? But good for Nami, managed to get out of there on her own. That was a nice, impressive feat. But yeah, it looks like we're going to be getting Luffy versus Big Mom in maybe the next chapter. Unless somebody else comes in, maybe Sanji, and gets in the way. But then I don't really know where Luffy would go from that, because he's clearly not going to be fighting Kaido anytime soon in the next few chapters. So let's now talk about what's going on up on the roof of Onigashima. So Kaido goes up there. All of the samurai have hopped on his back for a little ride. He's gone up there, and they knew he was going to go up there, because when they get up there, they're like, hey, you thought we were so stupid. You thought you had the advantage fighting up here in the open. No, because look at these two. And you see Nekomamushi and you see Inanarashi, and behind them you see a full moon. And we all know what that means. They specifically went for this day because it was going to be a full moon. But it wasn't just Nekomamushi and Inarashi, because all of the other Minks are there. They were waiting for Kaido on the roof of Onigashima with a full moon. We are about to get, because you see it like kind of Nekomamushi's face, like the Cheshire Cat style face. So he's clearly going to be transforming under the full moon. We are going to get a Sulong army versus Kaido. That is going to look absolutely epic. I hope that as the Minks were running up there, they grab Beppo along the way, because I want to see Beppo's Sulong form as well. But wow, what a tease. The last chapter had a great end. This one had a great end. I still think I prefer the last one a little bit more, because that was just a beautiful panel. But I'm so hyped to see the Sulong forms. I did not expect to get them this early, and I did not expect to have them versus Kaido. I really thought we were gonna get Nekomamushi versus Jack round 2, where they actually beat Jack. Maybe Jack will come along as they're fighting, and then they'll have to divert off and fight Jack. But it's going to be so epic to see all of these Minks in their Sulong form fighting Kaido in his dragon form, and maybe this is going to be one of the things that forces Kaido to go into his hybrid form, because I don't think Kaido's going to have an easy time. I think we're actually going to see Kaido taking quite a few wounds in the next few chapters. You can't build up Nekomamushi's Sulong form after after how epic Carrot's one was. You can't then have Nekomamushi transform and just have him beaten down really quick. It would show how powerful Kaido is, but you got to give us some good stuff with Sulong form Nekomamushi, and I guess with Sulong form Inuyasha as well, but it's clear that Nekomamushi is Oda's favourite because he's always there at the front. He's the one who knocked Kaido's club out of his hand. He's the one who declared that they were going Sulong, and he was the one whose face you saw at the end when it said to be continued. So I think I've covered everything that I wanted to talk about. Like I said, my brain is melting at the moment, so I have no idea what I've just said. I'll find out when I'm editing it. The only other thing is that Hyogoro he's taken off his disguise and he has announced that he's here. Oh, I haven't mentioned the fact that Big Mum is like, what's a few little samurai gonna do? And then we get the confirmation that everybody is there. The raid has fully started. Everybody has arrived, including Marco and Perospero at the same time. Now that is very confusing. What is going on there? Has Perospero gone full revolt? The one who was helping Big Mum the most in Whole Cake Island is now the one seemingly betraying her. Yeah, he was like, he saw his opportunity. He was like, haha, now I can have the Perospero spirits. But what is going on? What happened between Marco and Perospero that they seemingly are together now? It's hard to tell because it's a really small panel and it's not that detailed. It's hard to tell whether or not Marco's chasing him, but it doesn't look like they're in like a conflict. It literally looks like they arrived there together and have come to some kind of agreement. I hope that we get like a little bit of a flashback to find out what actually happened out at sea, because last time we saw them together, Marco knocked them to the bottom of the waterfall, and this time it looks like they're allies. So very interesting. A lot more division in the enemy's ranks is, and that's a common theme as well that we're seeing throughout Wano. I've mentioned this a few more times in my other reviews. I seriously am overheating now, so I need to end this. So how am I going to rank this chapter? I don't think it was as good as last week's chapter, and like I said, it was a lot more kind of setups and hints as opposed to big reveals. So I think I'm only going to give this one, even though it was super enjoyable and really got me thinking, really got me hyped for the future, I think kind of on its own I'll probably only give this one a purple tier. Now I need ice cream. Hey, so thanks for watching. What did you think? Let me know about it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed my video, maybe give it a like, and if you really liked it, why not subscribe? You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram and Twitch. Oh, and here's a related video you might enjoy, and something more fresh. I've been Hegassen, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!